era for American cricket began in 2021.
There he goes into a dive! What a catch!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Primus goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship returns June 25th.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
It's great fun being back here in Morgan Hill, Silicon Valley Strikers. You know the importance of the first game when you're playing the best of three. So do Chicago Tigers. The only concern that I had initially was how much of a time difference are they trying to get going here with? It's probably 2 hours. Shouldn't be much of a problem because they landed yesterday. But when you're a complete professional, you want to put all those things behind and concentrate only on the work at hand.
Indeed. I mean, if anything for them at this point, it means that this feels a little bit more like an afternoon game as opposed to a 10 a.m. start. Over here on the West Coast, having a little bit of coffee with our cricket. Not such an uncommon thing if you watch a lot of English cricket from here. That's about when it comes on, is coffee time. It'll be Saurabh Netravalkar back in the team to start the bowling for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Just 6 matches so far this season, back from international duty. He spent the last 2 weeks in Scotland. Doing some good work as the USA national team had a couple of hallmark victories, including that absolutely pulsating one against Scotland just a few days ago.
Saurabh Netravalkar is in great form indeed and could be a handful on a track which still has a few spots a little wet. The sun has just started to beat down, mind you. It's bright and sunny right now, which is a great sign, of course, for any cricket fan, but it was very overcast initially. The sun sort of cleared up so that we can have a good toss, perhaps.
And that leading to the decision perhaps for Silicon Valley to bowl first, only the second time they've elected to do so this season, having won the toss 7 times out of 15 matches. They are 4-0 this season when chasing. For their part, Chicago Tigers 4-2 when batting first this year with an average of 170.
Saurabh Netravalkar making the last-minute adjustment to the field. That is the backward square, being absolutely precise. Kulbinder Singh there with a slip in place. Saurabh Netravalkar, first ball.
And that ball will be coming to Charan Saiteja, who is reinstituted as an opener after a few games removed from that role. Here comes that first ball, left hand over the wicket, down the leg side. And a nice snag by Rahul Jariwala to prevent that from going for runs. But it is a wide to get Chicago underway.
Very good dive indeed. It'll sort of be the best warm-up that any keeper can ask for. Diving towards his right, natural side and getting there with one glove. Brilliant stuff. As far as this field is concerned, and the ball's already started to move so much that Saurabh Netravalkar has got to curtail the swing. Looks to be a great game on our hands. Saiteja.
Slip in place. Looking for the first official ball here from Netravalkar. Again, working in on the legs. This one tapped to the area at mid-wicket, just wide of Pranay Suri. That'll be a pair of runs to get started with runs off the bat.
Yeah, the first runs are very important and will calm the nerves of everyone in the Chicago Tigers camp, even more so the batters. Sai Charan Teja, he has this knack of looking up after scoring this first run. You matter where you watch him in, what forms of cricket you watch him in. I remember watching him in Hyderabad in one of the games, and seems to be sticking with him. That first run, very important.
That's an under edge. Could have gone anywhere, but it'll trickle to Surrey at mid-wicket. Dot ball for Netravalkar, and that one of his specialties has bowled 62% dot balls this season in the 6 matches that he's been able to play here for the Silicon Valley Strikers.
It just tells you 62% dot balls means the importance of creating pressure. He might not be amongst the wickets all the time, but he is the one applying more pressure for the others to reap the benefit of it in the form of wicket. So it must be a great team man indeed.
And Sai Teja's departed early his last couple times out. Here comes the ball from Netravalkar. Again, keeping this on the legs. This time around, the good, quick feet of Charan Sai Teja, who moves a little bit faster than you might expect. Able to take that quick single and put Saad Ali on strike.
Saad Ali, another important candidate if Chicago Tigers want to put a great score on board. He's, especially when it comes to chasing, he's a different kind of a batter altogether. Reminds me so much of Kohli, but left-handed. Because he loves to chase good targets down, hunt the targets down by pacing in his innings beautifully. Now he has got to set a decent target for his side to try and defend in the first encounter of what is going to be 3 important games to decide the advancement in the tournament for Chicago Tigers. First ball for Saad Ali.
Again worked it on the legs, and again an edge. That'll run down to third man for a single. Saad Ali underway. He's been a pretty quick starter as of late and has upped his strike rate the last handful of games. 140 for the season, but his last 4 outings, he's been up at 160. So beginning to express himself a little more. Has gotten more run in the power play as of late, with Sai Teja giving up his opener role for a little while.
Absolutely. And what I like about Saad Ali is the dynamic cricketer that he is. He wants to assume more responsibility. There were times when Calvin was unavailable. He had to be the captain. And he got to know just one night before that he's the skipper of the side. And the way he handled the pressure against the opponents in that particular game, to see the team through with his batting prowess as well, was just a treat to watch indeed in Houston. Yeah, I talked about Saad Ali's importance, and his vital half-century in Michigan against Michigan is another good innings that comes to my mind. He's got to replicate those efforts today as well. And as we speak, Joe, Sai Charan Teja is feeling a little better because he's getting it from the middle of the bat now.
It'll be Saad Ali to finish the Saurabh Netravalkar over on strike.
Make no mistake, it's very windy. The ball is already swinging. There are some wet patches and the sun has just started to beat down. Yes, it'll harden up as the day progresses, Joe.
Right now, perhaps a pitch that's going to grip it a little bit and make it tough to find. That is going to be shot to third man and another single.
Excellent stuff. Just the bottom hand comes off because he doesn't want to apply any power to it. End of the over. 7 on the board without a wicket.
1, 2, 3.
Bud, we up? The end of 1 over. It's going to be Kulvinder Singh coming from the Barrett Avenue end. Netravalkar getting the start from the San Pedro end in the first over here at the Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Center. Taking a look at Chicago so far this season in the power play, averaging about a 43 for 2. Interestingly, Silicon Valley Strikers with ball in hand have averaged 44 for 2, so you can just about book it, apparently. Although when these two teams did meet back on July 3rd, Chicago, under run rate pressure already, went for 59 runs in their power play. We'll see if they're a little more circumspect here, not staring up at 215 like they were that time.
Different track altogether, mind you. Especially being asked to bat first. The first 20 minutes are going to be very important. That's exactly why Saad Ali and Sai Charan Teja, trusting their batting order, are wanting to provide something as stable as possible for a start. They're taking the quiet singles. They want to play themselves in, not going for any flashy shots whatsoever. Just respecting the conditions, respecting the bowler. Again, I tell you, it's a matter of this first 15-20 minutes. Once the sun starts to beat down with all its might.
And of course, Kulvinder will want to take advantage of the cool conditions right now to get that prodigious swing that he is known for. And of course, in the slips, Narsingh Deonarayan. First game of the season for him. There is that motion away from Saiteja, knocked down by Gary Graham. They'll take the quick single.
Yeah, good stop, because that was traveling. Even though there was a second line of defense in Lendl Simmons, there were at least 2 runs written over it, if not a boundary.
Protection at the moment at third man. And square leg or mid-wicket. Trying to get a good view of... Yeah, I don't think he's quite in line. Mid-wicket. Saad Ali on strike here. This one in on the legs.
Very sensible. Just not wasting any deliveries. If it's there to be hit, we'll go after it at the moment. Just respecting Kulvinder Singh's swing.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, Kulvinder Singh's swing indeed. I'll tell you what, I just realized, even if you say Kulvinder's swing, it just still makes sense. He was a treat to watch in Santa Clara, isn't it? They couldn't put a foot wrong there. Everything he touched turned to gold.
Yeah, whether it was in the field or with the ball in hand.
Absolutely.
4 wickets taken in that match. Oof. Man of the match, that one is edged and gone! End of the day for Charan Saiteja, and the swing takes its first victim.
Little nervy, in 2 minds whether to offer the bat or no. That it kissed the outside edge of the bat, and that's enough for Rahul Jaliwala to celebrate. A good catch indeed, and a dream ball for Kulvinder Singh.
Saiteja removed from his opener role after a few tens in his last couple of outings. Reinstituted, goes for just 5 runs off 6 deliveries. And Kulvinder Singh has the first victim. Silicon Valley Strikers, 10 for 1.
We were talking about the importance of respecting the bowlers early on, because it's going to be the matter of those 15-20 minutes where the ball will do a bit more as it's nice, shiny. Kulvinder Singh has got a lot of swing in his kitty, and so has Saurabh Netravalkar. Singh's been using it to great effect, and once again I tell you, Saurabh Netravalkar from the other end is applying the pressure but not leaking runs, and that is exactly what is helping Kulvinder Singh as well. On that occasion, of course, you got to give it to Kulvinder Singh, just pitching it in the right area, troubling the batter, who doesn't have a big reach, mind you. Just that enough swing, not extravagant swing, but just enough to bring Rahul Jariwala, the keeper, into play.
Mark Sackerman, one of the 2 South African members of the South African contingent for Chicago Tigers, now on strike. Ackerman entering play today. The 23.7 average and a strike rate just under 130. First delivery stays down for Singh, and that gets through to the keeper without a touch, and Ackerman will be happy for that.
I would be happy about the fact that it hasn't touched the bat, of course, but would be a little worried about the ball not pitching as much and bouncing as much, rather. You know, Marcus Ackerman, he's played a couple of handy innings, especially against SoCal Lashings in Houston, was just a treat to watch. Then, of course, can contribute as a very aggressive keeper as well. Now with the bat in hand, he's got to find the gaps. It's a very interesting ploy from Chicago Tigers as they keep the righty-lefty combination alive in the middle.
2 dots to finish after the wicket of Charan Saiteja. 10 for 1 through 2.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom.
Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Saurabh Netravalkar will continue from the San Pedro end. No surprise there. Has bowled 52% of his overs this season inside the power play. And he'll be taking on the surviving opener, Saad Ali. Netravalkar, by the way, one of 3 changes compared to this team when they faced Chicago back on July 3rd. Lendl Simmons and Narsingh Deonarayan, a pair of Caribbean bits of Caribbean flavor there, also into the team. Primus Reefer and Zakale not in the team. They did face off with Chicago last time. First ball is a single for Saad Ali.
Now, as I was mentioning in the previous over as well, they wanted to keep the right-hand, left-hand combination going. That's what I thought. But it looks like they have left-handers galore. Now, what do you think about that, Joe? Usually you have that righty-lefty combination to trouble the bowlers. And here they spoil for choice when it comes to left-handers.
Well, and it's interesting, too, the Silicon Valley Strikers have the ability to counteract that. They've got a ton of left-handed pace. Saurabh Netravalkar and Kulvinder Singh we've already seen. Admittedly, today, no Raymond Reefer. There's a ball talking off the surface. Again, just skidding by the bat of Marcus Ackerman, and he survives.
Pitched it perfectly. Now, Marcus Ackerman would inspect the area that it pitched on as well and probably whisper it, don't misbehave when it pitches again.
I think I remember you talking last time we saw Saurabh way back in the matches with Golden State Grizzlies and East Bay Blazers. That he's somebody who makes the ball talk in a language that hitters just frequently do not understand. We'll see if it's any different here coming at you through a South African accent. Single and a dot to start the over. Another dot for Saurabh.
Very good delivery once again. One of Ackerman's favorite areas, going straight down the ground and driving through cover. Anything pitch shot, he'll try and pull. But he's getting it at a length where he's trying to constantly ask himself the question whether to commit on the front foot or rock back on the back foot. It's a perfect length to be bowling early on. Throw in some swing and it becomes even more lethal for the batter. At the moment, Saurabh Netravalkar is concentrating on stringing dot deliveries together to keep the pressure on.
Absolutely indecision, the enemy of good quality batting. That one on a hop. Dev Thadani's got it. No run there either.
This one bounced a little bit more. We saw one that didn't bounce from San Pedro, and here it bounced a little bit more.
A ball hurrying on to Marcus Ackerman at the moment. Netravalkar coming in number 2 in all of minor league cricket in average, number 3 in economy, and number 4 in strike rate. A danger any way you want to describe it.
Much better once again. We'll get that single though. He's so unassumingly taking that single. It wasn't like any fielder was scurrying towards it. That's the importance of playing with soft hands as well. And when you call, you know exactly how hard you've hit it. And when you have a player like Saad Ali to respond, it's always good to take that single. Well, went some pressure. And of course, it's important to break the monotony by picking up a single at least. Otherwise, the dot deliveries would start off. You could see that secret signal made by Saurabh Netravalkar. Just stay at the edge of the 30-yard circle. You know that this over is going really well. He'll try and go up top if I'm correct, says Saurabh Netravalkar. But he changed the pace on it as well. But this one just jacked back in. Impossible to hit it straight. There's movement of the pitch as well, Joe. This is turning out to be an exciting contest indeed. Saurabh Netravalkar has many magic tricks up his sleeve.
Leg by to finish the over, 13 for 1.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
The man they call Paji will start, or rather will continue from the Barrett Avenue end of the ground. Lots of changes for Chicago to the team that faced off with Silicon Valley back on July 3rd. The headliner, of course, is Calvin Savage. The two pace bowlers, Saurabh Netravalkar and Calvin Savage, both unavailable for different reasons. Savage will be happy to be involved in this one. He was actually watching the first matchup from the NICU. Kulvinder Singh is going to travel. That's looking like the first boundary of today's encounter. Syed Saad Ali leaning into that one.
Yes, Saad Ali was waiting for a ball that he could pounce on, slightly short, and with a field that has been offered to him, an easy shot to play as well. In front of the wicket, pulls it for perfection, pulls it for 4.
That'll be a little bit of a pressure let off. Along with Calvin Savage, Deepchand Pinaka, Mitansh Nityanandam, and Manan Patel into the team.
Well done, Joe.
I feel like I might have added a syllable to that one by accident, but I was practicing.
Right by accident. Let's just put it this way.
We'll take
a syllable.
Dot ball here on the second delivery. Good comeback from Kulvinder Singh.
Marcus Ackerman is someone who's very busy. We sort of sensed it with the kind of singles that he's taking. One is to stroke it straight to the fielder and try and take him on. The other is to place it slightly in the gap and deliberately slowly so that you allow yourself enough time to get to the other end. The under edge and just beyond the reach of Rahul Jariwala. There is protection. Now, the second run would have been a scare for the keeper because he wasn't in no position to get that ball collected.
Not for the first time, Kulvinder Singh getting the ball to talk and finding edges, or in that case there, easily could have been chopped on.
Bit of luck that Chicago Tigers needed that's come their way early on. Any other day, or perhaps had this game been played in Santa Clara, Singh would have been at his best once again. That ball would have struck timber. We've seen lucky cricketers, and then comes Singh. I mean, of course, the harder you work, the luckier you get is another principle in cricket. And he's a great, great cricketer in that regard.
Well, and he's had a nice string of matches as of late. The one blip was a 39 off of 18 balls against East Bay, but otherwise his economy has been hugging the 6 and 7 region most of this season, and particularly the last few weeks.
Very accurate once again.
Had wickets in each of the 3 games before that 4-wicket explosion. That's his best figures on the season, 4 for 24 last week.
He's got another very good delivery up his sleeve, which is using very, very cautiously. That is the slower one. The arm speed doesn't change, and it's something that is worked on throughout the seasons, and it's getting better and better as this tournament's coming to the business end.
And we'll see a lot of really good slow ball exponents for the Chicago Tigers as well. Ackerman flares that one off the top of the bat and gets it over the man in the covers. That's going to be 4.
A terrific shot. Enough width on that and put away in great style. Marcus Ackerman is announced his arrival with a lovely boundary indeed. End of 4, 22 for 1.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Isn't cool?
Change of bowling at the San Pedro end. It's going to be Dev Thadani, who we saw last week, I believe, some of his first bowling inside the power play all season. He had a very brief cameo, at least with ball in hand, against Chicago in the first week of July. They brought him in for the 20th over. He bowled 1 ball. He got wicket number 10, all in a day's work.
Oh, yeah. Dev Thadani made it look so simple, isn't it? Now, it's good to see that Unmukt Chand is grooming young talent like Dev Thadani from the Bay Area as well, giving him that additional responsibility to bowl when the cushion is very minimal, just 2 men patrolling the boundary rope. He did that in Santa Clara, succeeded. He's got himself another gig over here as a power play bowler.
Indeed, just his second over inside the power play, went for 5 runs that first time out.
Or is there something in the pitch where the ball skids on? Because Dave Tadani is a handful when the ball is skidding on. So far, the couple of boundaries that have been hit on the offside, if you see, it's because the width was offered. One was slightly short and put away on the leg side with a lovely pull from Saad Ali. So every time width has been provided, Chicago Tigers have pounced on it.
As Tigers are wont to do.
Just doing justice to their names. Dave Tadani at the moment is with the kind of feel that he's got. He just wants to keep it simple, just wants to bowl outside off. But he's the most effective when he's trying to keep it wicket to wicket.
Coming over the wicket with the right arm pace. That's dragged towards the man at mid-on. No problem there for the new man, Simmons. Single taken.
It didn't seem like a new man, didn't seem like a fish out of water. It just grabbed this opportunity with both hands. And it's also got to do with the team culture that's been created around Silicon Valley Strikers. They move a lot of players in and out, but everybody feels at home and they're ready to go. Simmons starting with a wonderful half-century indeed. That's in the air. Will it be taken? The first opportunity. Would have made for a great shot by the camera person, as he was in a great position there, Jim, to take it, but not the fielder. It's one of those that you pray, Joe. You pray that it sticks. It comes at you very quickly.
Not a lot of time to think about that one. We talked about the Tigers pouncing and living up to their name. Of course, Silicon Valley trying to live up to theirs and strike.
9 out of 10 times would have taken it, but 9 out of 10 times is not good enough in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, especially when it gets down to the wire. We've seen that the level of competition is just increasing by every single game. That's a reprieve that Chicago Tigers would be blessed to have.
Mark Zuckerman now about to be on strike. He was part of a major partnership when these two teams met the last time. At 40-run victory, looks like it's relatively comfortable, but it's easy to forget that Chicago were in that game up until about the 12th or 13th over. They needed 14s down toward the death, and in that particular situation, one wicket brought most of the last 5 after that.
Absolutely. It was very close indeed. A lot of ground to cover. The ball skidding away to the fence. Again, the shorter delivery, and again, the Silicon Valley Strikers pay the price. It's almost a crime to be bowling short to this man. Oh, what a good shot once again. No half measures whatsoever.
Good to see Ackerman having some success against pace. The last few weeks has been having a little bit of an issue with it. Strike rate around 85 for the last 5 matches he's played in. It's been a while since he's had a boundary against a pace bowler.
Slightly wideish long on now after that boundary being scored, because the gap was too wide is what Dave Tadani has realized. But that's much better. That is the line and length you got to be bowling. Oh, the ball was hit straight into the pads of Ackerman and wasn't very deliberate. So, and of course, this game's being played with a lot of camaraderie, which is great to watch. 5 overs gone, 34 for 1 after that sneaky single.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Surrey. Looks like we'll be getting our first look at spin from the Barrett Avenue end as Pranay Suri comes in, and he will be delighted that Kulvinder Singh already took care of Sharan Saiteja, because last time around, Saiteja absolutely murdered Pranay Suri. 27 off of 9 deliveries and 6 boundaries in that encounter. So he'll be glad to be dealing with Ackerman and Saad Ali instead.
How glad is he would just figure it out in just 2 or 3 balls, but I'll tell you what, he'd be quite content bowling from that end, which aids spin a lot more. And compared to San Pedro end, of course, the spinners would call the Barrett Avenue end a paradise indeed. We've had our jokes running about that end being so spin friendly that everybody wants to buy a house over there. The first question they're asked is, what is your craft when it comes to bowling?
Is it leggy? Left arm orthodox?
Yeah.
What do you do? It's actually disorienting in Santa Clara last weekend to see people
Yeah,
bowling
true.
spin away from us.
Absolutely. But then, of course, you've got the best seat in the house, Joe. Got to tell that to the world. You got the best seat in the house to get that catch of Shehan Jayasuriya. Cheeky, and would it be taken? No! Butterfingers from a man who has bucket-like hands. Gary Graham putting it down. This is an NFT moment, as rare as it gets.
One of those things that just doesn't look the same in the scorecard. It's just going to go down as a dot delivery, but big opportunity put down there. A chance to break a partnership that's beginning to bear some fruit here. 24 runs so far and looking for acceleration. Fielding restrictions almost over with. Just 5 more balls in that.
Pranay Suri introduced and almost picking up a wicket. Now will have to face the wrath of the batter who gets the better of him on this occasion. 6 all the way. Just tells you no half measures despite surviving a scare. Wants to go at it with full might and gets it for 6.
Marcus Ackerman immediately looking to make Silicon Valley strikers pay for their profligacy out there in the field. Can't be wasting opportunities like that.
The Chicago Tigers, they'll be really glad that they've packed a lot of luck in their kit bag. And so far, you've talked about fortune favoring the brave. Now he's shuffling up. Wow, what a good shot this one is. In the gap, it goes for 4. It's very difficult to bowl to Marcus Ackerman once he gets set. And looks like with that shimmy, he is dancing to his own drum beats.
Good use of the feet to make a little bit of room and probe that gap there out in the covers.
I think they've decided to target a particular bowler, and now it's supposed to. It just seems to be Suri. And Suri has got to slow the game down, I really believe. He's got hit for a 6 now, this boundary. Mind you, it's been a while since we've seen him operate in the power play as well. It's the final over of the power play. And Marcus Ackerman is making sure that he leaves no stone unturned to get that bit of momentum. Now he moved away. That's a perfect delivery, all right. Just outside the off stump. And shoots it in as well.
Now Surrey watching the feet of Marcus Ackerman, saw him looking to employ that same little shimmy, and perfect ball in response to that. And that one's gotten the Jetty well, and the finger is up. And that is all for Marcus Ackerman, who goes boom, boom, gone.
Big moment in the game of cricket indeed. It's the little battles that you always have to watch out for. And Suri picks up Ackerman after being hit away for 4 and a 6. Has the last laugh and would be very, very sweet indeed. Good work by Rahul Jariwala behind the wicket. Silicon Valley strikers strike again.
And Rahul Jariwala, second in all of minor league cricket in dismissals, has both of the 2 so far today, a stumping and a caught behind, as he looks to close the gap on Anthony Bramble. That is a major one there. We were I was about to say that Pranay Suri was coming out and having issues again with a left-handed batter who doubles as a spin bowler, and it wasn't Saiteja this time around. It looked like it was going to be Ackerman, but he has the last laugh after Ackerman was put down. Just cost them those 10 runs.
In walks Manan Patel. You got to feel for Suri. He created an opportunity first ball. A sitter dropped and then gets hit for a boundary 6, and suddenly you're looking like, it looks like your economy is going for a toss, even though you've created the opportunities, and then you pick up that batter. It's with poetic justice.
Feel good too here, having had a few balls evade his grasp. Chances in both of the last 2 overs to break that partnership.
More pressure on Syed Saad Ali at the other end, who's watching a show that he doesn't want to at the moment. Ackerman was looking good. He was stringing a good partnership with Saad Ali. Now Manan Patel in 9 games, 184 runs for Manan Patel.
And 2 innings ago, he had a 42 against Michigan Cricket Stars. Gets started strong here with a 4 on the final ball of this over, which has been a very eventful one, Suhas.
Oh, what a great over this one is.
So 3 boundaries from it, but the wicket of Marcus Ackerman, 48 for 2 as the fielding restrictions release.
1, 2, 3.
Dave Tadani. He'll continue, but this time with more protection in the deep as the fielding restrictions of the first power play are lifted. Chicago Tigers, due to Ackerman's blitzkrieg in the middle, suddenly have reached 48 for 2. Otherwise, was supposed to be a cautious start for them. That's the importance of one good over. Even though Ackerman lost his wicket in that 3 over, it was a painful smile the Chicago Tigers would have at the end of 6. Dave Tadani. That's a very dangerous shot to play indeed for Dave Tadani, who loves to skid the ball a little. Saad Ali looks like the shot selection and everything and his contentment when he runs. Just looks like he wants to play longer innings, doesn't want to attack any particular bowler. The roles were very, very clear. Ackerman will go for the big shots. Saad Ali, you stay put.
And Ackerman certainly making them pay with a few big boundaries there. We talked about the average for Chicago this season in power plays being 43 for 2. Silicon Valley giving up 44 for 2. We were almost right on that before Patel's 4 to close out the 6th over. Middle overs could be a little bit more of a tug of war. I'll tell you now, after this delivery, a bit more about how these two teams navigate that.
No swing on offer when Dave is bowling. Hence, no slip as well deployed. Just wants to keep it straight. And now he's getting into that mode where he wants to keep it wicket to wicket and wait for the batter to go for the big shot. Dave Tadani loves to deliver a heavy ball. We've seen that before. In that NSL game, 8 wickets to his name, just 20-odd runs given away. He was on fire. And it's always great fun watching him, especially with Gary, his coach, also sharing the field with him as a teammate. Chops a few words to him, and the boy seems to deliver.
Well, again, one of those things that we love about this 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championships presented by Sunoco is this contrast of experience and youth, and this opportunity to get them both on the field. The opportunity for these young players, the future of American cricket, to learn from some of the greats.
That's squeezed in the gap. Manan Patel, even though the first boundary was a little cheeky and streaky, this will settle him down as it comes from the middle of the bat and is a beautiful shot indeed. The grind starts once again for Chicago Tigers, Joe. They've got to put a partnership together, play Dave Tadani out in a manner that they do not risk their wicket. If it's 7 runs and over, they'll take it with both hands at this stage.
And generally speaking, Chicago tends to speed up at this portion of the game. Strikers renowned for applying pressure. They've been averaging 4 wickets in the middle 9 overs per game this season.
It was scooting to Shehan. It was so very well hit. They've got a lot of experience deployed in the deep. Silicon Valley Strikers. Shehan Jayasuriya at long on, now for the right-hander. And Lendl Simmons at long off. One more thing about 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Oh, that is brilliant delivery indeed. If you put a 4th stump there, it would have flown. What a way to end the over. We'll keep the chat alive. 50 comes up, of course. It's 51 for 2 at the end of 7.
Pranay Surrey continuing from the Barrett Avenue end. You mentioned before, Suhas, this moment of the rebuild, the need to kind of stabilize yourself. It's been a bit of a challenge this season, especially in matches against really good opposition for Chicago. They've had a few few matches where they've lost, 3 or 4 wickets for just single-digit runs against both Silicon Valley and Dallas in the game they lost against the Mustangs. Lost their last 6 wickets for a total of 11 runs. So they need to make sure they keep their wits about them here immediately after the loss of a wicket.
They would want to treat that as an aberration and not try and look into it a lot more. Reason behind that is because they trust themselves as a unit, and that's what has got them so far. So it's important to treat that as a one-off game where things didn't go their way. Otherwise, they understand they're better than that. 6 wickets for just 11. Would want to put that behind and tread on. Come the big game, what I've liked the most about Chicago Tigers is that despite losing wickets, they're at it all the time. They want to score those runs. They're looking for runs and more opportunities. They're not going back into the shell. What many teams have gone wrong, especially when they're facing the strikers, is the fact that they've gone into a shell and the strikers sort of are on the prowl all the time, which sort of helps as the opponents are playing into their style of play.
Yeah, finding the right calibration for your aggression at that sort of moment. You know you need runs on the board because this Silicon Valley Strikers team can hit. We said so far perfect this season when chasing, though they haven't done it a ton.
Gently tapped away, will get that easy single once again. What I like to see over here from Suri is deliberately slowing it down. Just moments ago, we saw how he was bowling to Ackerman. Quick, fast, outside off, and now that nice loopy delivery coming out of his hand.
How much of that do you suppose is just naturally playing around with variations or perhaps bowling to a plan against a specific batter?
I think he would have been content giving away that single to the right hand Manan. And I really believe it is bowling to a plan. Now look at him again, just watching the batter till the last moment, pulling that length back as soon as he realized Saad Ali is using his feet. One more thing about Pranay Suri is that the arm speed. He generates a lot of power with his wrists, so his arm speed doesn't change much when he wants to bowl quicker, and that is a difficult proposition for the batter as he has less cues to pick up to find out if the ball's coming at him quicker. Just like this. That was quick as it gets. He was through with the swivel, but realized that he has misread it completely. Timber disturbed, and Suri strikes once again.
Suri, who broke a streak of 3 consecutive matches without a wicket after that middle season flurry, the Suri flurry, if you will. The 6 for here at Morgan Hill and a 5 for up in Seattle. But he's back in the wickets, 2 last week and 1 here to dismiss Manan Patel for just 6 runs.
Just pushed it through quicker, straighter when it mattered the most. The two kinds of spin bowlers, one who have the acumen to try and change the pace according to what the batter is trying to do. Another who sort of bowl into the pitch and let the pitch take over. Suri is a bit of both, in fact. He can change the length at will and at the same time will let the pitch do its thing as well. On that occasion, just pitched it as far as possible, quick as possible. Just invited the batter into a cross-batted stroke, and once the batter missed, Suri didn't.
So as you miss, I hit. It will be Sunny Bhatti, the wicketkeeper for the Chicago Tigers, now on strike in to replace Manan Patel. He'll partner the surviving opener Syed Saad Ali. One final ball here in the 8th.
Yes, Syed Saad Ali and Sunny Bhatti, they played a lot of cricket together, especially in the 2022 Minor League Cricket Championship. That very game they won against San Diego Surf Riders, it was these two who put together a great partnership after being rocked by a couple of early wickets. Sunny Bhatti will start off cautiously. And Suri wouldn't mind that at all. Another over to remember for Pranay Suri. 8 overs gone. 54 for 3, the Tigers.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good-looking. And he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
try and get through the middle overs that way. Today he was given the 6th over when it started off for him. And every alternate over thereafter. He's done a decent job. Slapped it straight back. Shehan Jayasuriya will not be able to get there. Didn't put in the dive as well as the ball wasn't dying in pace. Enough Sunoko to reach the fence.
Yeah, it might have just been laundry day if he'd gone across the grass for that one. Devdadani, usually somebody who eats up these middle overs and does so with aplomb. 7.5 his economy on the season. He's bowled about 80% of his overs between number 7 and number 15.
What I liked about that shot is it was so measured. He slapped it straight back. It wasn't a drive, it was a slap. Still, it was so measured. Mind you, it's a wide-ish long on they initially had. Now they've got it straightish long off and long on.
And they'll look to go wide of him. Long run for Shehan Jayasuriya. He does manage to get there to keep it from reaching the boundary, but it will be a pair.
I tell you what, if Shehan Jayasuriya wants to put in a dive, he'd be in such a great position to do so compared to Santa Clara. He was in a desert.
Absolutely, a softball infield. It's not generally the way you draw it up.
I mean, there was grass 90% of the time, but there was one small corner. This is for all the viewers and who's watching and listening. There was one small corner where you didn't have a blade of grass, and that is where Shehan Jayasuriya had to field. He did a great job with a one-handed catch, though. Oh, that was close. That is straight as well. This could be trouble. Up goes the finger. A brain fade moment. This is an important wicket in the context of the game. It's Syed Saad Ali, who promised a good, respectable total on the board, is walking back after a good start. One cross-batted shot too many, and the idea of persisting with Devdadani, that has paid off.
And we talked a little bit about this tendency to lose wickets in bunches for the Chicago Tigers. They were at 44 for 1 with just 2 balls left in the power play. Since then now have lost 3 wickets for 16. And are in a little bit of a world of hurt. They're going to turn, it appears, to the captain to try to stabilize things. Calvin Savage making his way out to the crease.
Calvin Savage would have liked to walk in a little later, to be honest, but he had a better scorecard to inherit. Now he's got to do the mending work as well with Syed Saad Ali, the promising batter, back in the hut. One cross-batted shot too many. He was looking like he was starting to unfurl his shots and it was going to be his day. Not to be. Devdadani just keeping it straight and full when it mattered. Once again, a bowler across crafts, this time a pacer, last time a spinner, just keeping it straight enough, and at this level you can't afford to miss a straighter ball. Devdadani, mind you, is someone who loves to skid the ball as well, and that's coming to great use with the batter slightly late in offering his shot. Straight down the ground, he wanted to hit it. The first time succeeded with a boundary. Second time he's tried something similar, just misses it, and it would have gone on to hit the stumps, reckons the umpire.
Well, that skid and particularly the little bits of variable bounce that we've seen over the course of today could be a bit of an issue for somebody with the height of a Calvin Savage, having to try to get down to that ball when it stays down a bit unexpectedly.
Absolutely. So he's going to be very watchful of that region. Sai Charan Teja, when he was there in the middle, was looking to tap it down as much as possible so that it doesn't prop up. But that's one piece in the puzzle of the pitch which is prone to come out time and again. Devdadani right on the money. Calvin Savage has a question to ask about the side screen. Devdadani is such a handy bowler, especially because he doesn't even ask for a slip. You can use that fielder to stop another single to try and put the pressure and keep the pressure on. And still his efficacy hasn't gone down, it's only gone up because he's able to generate that skid and bowl as straight as possible.
There's another skiddy offering there that is just tapped into the wicket.
Captain Kevin. He's got to look around, survey the field, and try and pick up a single first up. Captain Kevin is also in great touch, to be honest. Lovely delivery, almost a replica of what he bowled the previous time as well.
Goodness gracious. Dev Thadani, after giving up the first ball 4, gives up a 2 and then 4 consecutive dots. One of them, the removal of the remaining opener, Saad Ali. 60 for 4 through 9.
Nine overs gone, 60 for 4. In that little period between the 6th over and the 9th over. Chicago Tigers losing their way by losing 2 important wickets. One in the form of Saad Ali, which will pinch the most. Captain Kevin has walked out there and he's got some mending work to do, Joe.
Indeed, taking a look at Tom Nielsen's impact ratings, his way of measuring your value over an average cricketer in this league. Saad Ali, along with Manan Patel and Ackerman and Saiteja, were all around plus 3.5 runs per innings in the middle overs, and all 4 of them now gone. Bhatti tends to be a bit under the average as they look to try to take
a little stutter, but it still complete that single.
The man out there, Bhatti, right now, a -2 in those ratings. Calvin Savage generally not batting enough to register in the middle overs, but he has been among the best death batters in this league. Plus 7.3 per innings. 4th best rate at the death, so he'll be looking to make sure he lasts that long, gets a chance to get good and settled in, get his eye right, and do some damage.
That was a half-hearted appeal. You could sense that with the decibel levels. We've been discussing that throughout our stints together, Joe.
Srinivas Raghavan into the attack from the Barrett Avenue end, the left arm spin.
You talked about Kevin. We'll get back to it after this delivery. We'll quietly pick up a single at least, if not 2, because Kevin is taller of the 2. Longer stride, a bit of a misfield, more of a chance than on striker's end. Kulvinder Singh's misfields are also creating opportunities. I think he's just carried the luck from Santa Clara. I'll tell you what, you talked about Kevin now, of course, finds himself at the non-strikers end owing to that single. He's 5th on Tom Nielsen's impact ratings. And of course, this was just chipped in the air. Would it be taken? Yes, it is. One of the better catches of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, diving forward and relying on no fielder but himself. And once again, Joe, a bowler becomes the best fielder of his own bowling.
Well, I was about to say, before we got talking about Calvin Savage, Srinivas Raghavan, maybe one of the unsung heroes of this team. It's easy to pay attention to all the fire coming from both ends, from the likes of a Singh or a Reaper or a Netravalkar, but Srini had a big role to play in the game the last time these two teams met. His 11th over, where he gave up just 3, was the thing that started to apply the clamps and the pressure in a game where Chicago was beginning to believe they might have enough in the bats to get it done. He's got a 6.56 economy on the season. He has been very stingy and is now among the wickets as well. So doing everything he can to try to, again, apply the clamps and keep Chicago to a manageable total.
Failure for Bhatti today. More pressure on Kevin as he realizes that half the side is back in the hut with just 61 on the board.
We said a moment ago when the wicket was taken of Saad Ali that it was 3 wickets down for 16 runs, make it 4 wickets down for 18. It's starting to look a little bit unsettlingly familiar for the Chicago Tigers this season.
That collapse, that's coming through, but it's coming through at the wrong time for them. It's the big game. In a best of 3, it's important to win the first one at all costs to put yourself in a great position to apply pressure later on. That's hit beautifully well. We'll get at least a single. He's gone for 2. He's called for 2 and will pick up the second. Very unlike Silicon Valley Strikers, a misfield in the deep, and will grant them another single. Chicago Tigers wouldn't mind that at all. So 2 runs added to the tally. And with that, Prithvish Patel, who had walked in, will also open his account.
Much better length there from Srinivas Raghavan. That'll bring the over to an end. 4 runs from it. But another wicket. Sunny Bhatti gone 64 for 5.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
First delivery, as we're trying to straighten things out in terms of the score. Our understanding at the moment, I believe, is that it is 64 for 5. Let's see if that catches up here. But Calvin Savage now making it 65 for 5, and thus invalidating that right away. It'll be Thadani's 4th over, as they are going to go ahead and use him up while he's completely effective here.
Everyone's chipping in with the wickets. Silicon Valley Strikers are having a dream game for a big game. Everyone chipping in with the wickets. The spinners and the pacers just bowling straight enough. Dev Thadani, as Joe mentioned, 4th on the trot for the youngster. He's doing the difficult job brightly.
Gary Graham nearly getting to that one. I couldn't quite tell from here with Kulvinder Singh in the way whether it carried to him or not.
No, it did.
Okay. We won't add that to the list of ones that have uncharacteristically gotten by him.
I think the one that carries to him, that quota is full today. Better delivery, just slightly slower as well this time around. The batter is expecting something skiddy and you bowl slow. It's one thing to have that perfect delivery in your kitty. It's quite another to know when exactly to use it. And Dev Thadani is learning with the game.
Yeah, Thadani surrendered 3 4s so far today, but besides that, just 10 other runs off the remainder of his delivery. Then he's got another wicket as he's lit up the Singh bails. Prithvish Patel has a very short stay at the crease.
The collapse is here. Chicago Tigers, as they lose another big wicket. Prithvish Patel, a brain-paid moment. Every time a batter is trying to go cross-batted against someone like Dev Thadani, they've either seen the finger go up or the stumps dislodge.
Gary's ready. Gary's ready.
5 of the last 6 overs have featured a wicket of a Chicago Tigers batter. Is well and truly on here for the Silicon Valley Strikers, as we said, living up to their name. Figures of 2 for 22 in a playoff match. Nice start here so far for Dev Thadani. You need it.
Wickets falling at regular intervals and troubling Chicago Tigers. Calvin has got his hands handcuffed at the... He would be feeling handcuffed at the non-striker's end right now. Ever since he's come to the middle, he's seen so many wickets fall. And all of them not in the right manner as well. It's never the right manner to lose a wicket, but look at the kind of shots offered to a straight ball. Dev Thadani is keeping it as simple as possible.
Well, and it certainly changes the way Savage himself has to approach it because he knows he can't depart or they're going to be in a real trouble. So he's only got 2 runs off 7. He's had to be very defensive so far.
Absolutely.
Semi Sahel, the new man in on strike against the Thadani. Dot ball to start as the Thadani again has put together a string of those. Just the single from Savage to start this over. Otherwise, 4 dots, one of them a very flashy one. Final delivery of the over. That one's tapped. No problem for Unmuk Chand. Another dot ball. 1 from the over.
Wow.
And another big wicket. 64 for 6.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Yep.
64, right?
64 for 6, just 4 runs and 2 wickets down off the last 2 overs. And it's Srinivas Raghavan continuing to Calvin Savage, who extends the arms and shoots that one over the Sunoco board. A candidate for Dafanu's shot of the match so far. First really good piece of intent we've seen from the captain.
Oh yes, he's decided to take the pressure off him by scoring runs of this kind. First ball deposits right outside the park. The ball is under pressure right away. Srinivas Raghavan. That's much better, but he's still squeezed it in the gap. And misfield once again, and it's 2 for the taking. It's a direct hit. Still had made it.
I believe in that one. I think Srinivas Raghavan dislodged the bails before the ball got there, actually.
Wasn't in the best position to collect the ball, isn't it? You've got to be behind the stumps so that you don't obscure the stump as well.
That's definitely hit pad, and the finger is up. Calvin Savage dismissed and not happy about it by any stretch of the imagination.
Captain departs. And Chicago Tigers in all sorts of bother. The slump continues. 72 for 7 now.
They were at 44 for 1, I'll remind you, just shy of the end of the power play. So doing the math, that is 6 wickets down for 28. Savage seemed particularly frustrated by that. From your viewpoint, Suhas, did you get any decent look at whether that might have been a height issue or a line issue that was leading to his clear displeasure with that?
From our vantage point, Joe, which is not very far from where you're sitting, perhaps, but of course the line from our vantage point looked like would have been outside off because he's trying to plonk his front foot deliberately outside off. But the umpire's got the best seat in the house to witness that. And if he feels that would have gone to hit the stumps, and of course, more importantly, no bat involved, then up went the finger in the right way.
Yeah, certainly in terms of the sounds that we heard, I didn't pick up any flick. All I heard was the loud bassy thump of the pad. But again, yes, the question of whether he managed to get that outside the line to invalidate LBW, apparently, according to our umpiring crew, nope.
It's a huge wicket indeed in the context of the game because that's the difference between 30 runs or 35 runs at least before another opportunity came by from Calvin Savage. The captain Calvin back in the hard to end now. Unmuk Chand would try and go for the kill.
That's Deepchand Pinaka at the crease now. A pair of dot balls from Srinivas Raghavan on the heels of the wicket.
Deepchand Pinaka was initially part of the side and after a string of poor performances wasn't in the side, and now he comes back after scoring a ton of runs in other tournaments in Chicago. He's in great touch and Chicago Tigers would want him to be playing the major role over here. 12 overs gone. 72 for 7. Perhaps he's already noticed a couple of suddenly losing their way, but then coming back to win it eventually in the end, praying that Michigan does its bit as well to make sure they are here as well. And then Chicago Tigers eventually booked their place, booked their tickets to Morgan Hill. Now they want to put up a great show. 72 for 7 is not such a great show because they've been losing wickets at regular intervals. They got to come out of the slump, and they've got to do so very quickly.
That's shot to a gap, but there is protection in the deep at the at extra cover. Just a single there for Pinnaker.
I think Pinnaker has got to continue his form from other tournaments that he's been playing along with 2022 Minor League Cricket Championship.
Yeah, this just his 4th innings with the bat in hand of the Minor League Cricket Championships. Average of 3, strike rate of 64.
I recently saw him lift his bat for a 50 and just 22 balls or something like that. So I think he's scored 75 of 22. And that's what has earned him a place over here. And he's got to show his prowess with the bat in hand once again.
Kulvinder Singh, meanwhile, looking to borrow his form from the, well, first 2 overs he bowled in today's game. And for that matter, his form from Santa Clara. So that one's pulled just backward of square leg. It's 4 singles to finish off the 13th over, 76 for 7.
First over in a while where they haven't lost a wicket.
Yeah.
$76 for 7. Chicago Tigers looking to rebuild. And perhaps that last over from Kulvinder Singh was the first over in a while where Chicago Tigers did not lose a wicket. For 5 straight overs, there was a W.
Indeed, the work of Srinivas Raghavan and Dev Thadani to go along with Pranay Suri. Absolutely devastating here in the middle overs. And in fact, it was 5 in a row and 6 out of 7 overs as they had taken one in the last over of the power play too. So 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The very definition of regular intervals, I think. Rane Suri back into the attack from the Barrett Avenue end, and that might have been a drop by Rahul Jariwala. That one is taking a bite out of him. Edge from Pinaka. And Rahul will walk it off.
For someone who's been excellent behind the wicket for the first time, messes it up. Chicago Tigers would breathe easy. Would have been a nightmare to be losing Pinaka at this stage.
Looking to take the quick single. Deanna Ryan up with it, but they will scamper between the wickets and get Sami Sohail back on strike.
Sami Sohail, the under-19 Malawi cricketer.
Strike rate of 118 on the season. He's slowed down into the mid-90s the last couple of weeks. That one's in the air, but it's the umpire briefly leading me to believe there was a fielder in place. Instead, just a single as it rolls to Kulvinder Singh in the deep.
The game slowed down for the right reason, because Chicago Tigers want no drama. The strikers at the moment quite content hunting Tigers.
Looking for another quick single. Deanna Ryan can't get the clean pickup on that one. Otherwise, might have been some trouble over at Rahul Jariwala's end.
Even in this over, you believe there was an appeal, there was a chance, there was an opportunity. Wasn't pouched, of course. They're being dangerously Chicago Tigers. They've got to they need a period of calm.
This one tapped where nobody is at the moment at mid-on. Rushing in the captain. It'll just be a single to finish things off. Again, 4 from that over. 80 for 7.
1, 2, 3.
$80 for 7. 6 overs left, and it's a change of ends for Srinivas Raghavan, and we're going to see some spin coming from the San Pedro end. First time today, I believe.
Very good delivery first up. Once again, wicket to wicket and as slow as possible, just leaving the ball hanging it up in the air. There's so much of the long format of the game about him.
And economical no matter where you've bowled him this season. One tapped to Gary Graham at point. No run there.
Dot balls galore. Srinivas Raghavan wouldn't mind that at all. He's showing a world of good to his economy rate. This one didn't bounce as much and was quicker as well. Now he started to mix it up. So the couple of deliveries first up, every single over just sticking to the basics and then trying to reassess the situation depending on what the batter is trying to do.
It almost reminds me of what you hear about in baseball, where pitchers will keep maybe one delivery, one kind of pitch in reserve the first time they face their lineup. And then the second time around, that's when you start bringing in some variations, show them something they haven't seen yet, because you know that the scouting is going on batter to batter in a game like that. So maybe a little bit of that sort of strategy here from Trini.
Beautifully driven. We'll give them a single. He's got a very strong arm. Simmons.
So with 1 ball left here in the 15th, Srinivas Raghavan continuing to keep it economical, and the Tigers, for the time being, continuing to survive. Few overs in a row here without losing a wicket, but they haven't been able to up the run rate. They need a little something to put together a useful total to bowl at.
Srinivas Raghavan has done a tremendous job once again, quickly finishing the over and giving nothing but singles. 15 overs gone, 83 for 7. Yes, sir.
Sammy Sahel, but gets it off the toe end of the bat and may have gotten his... Oh, he got the non-striker, Deepchan Pinaka.
I was struck so very well, but this game's being played with no friendly fire on. Now, for all those who play Watch Dogs and Counter-Strike Condition Zero like me, you would understand. You really wish there was friendly fire on for this one. That would have stung. Imagine robbing your own team off at least a couple of runs on that occasion. That was Deepchand Pinaka who couldn't get out of the way. Struck very, very hard.
I was getting flashbacks to Henry Nicholls' dismissal against England a couple of months ago, the one that hit his non-striker's bat and kicked to Ben Stokes.
This should be taken. This should be taken. Gone straight into the hands of Kulvinder Singh, who doesn't mess this one up. It's a nice low catch. Chicago Tigers are losing their way. Chicago Tigers in deep, deep danger of being bundled out before the 3 figures mark.
And after a 48 for 2 power play, too, just kind of remembering where we were about 35 minutes ago. They end up losing 5 wickets for 35 during the middle overs, and not an auspicious start either here to the death overs. Just 2 wickets left in hand. See who's coming out now to partner Sammy Sohail. The 2 options being Ranadeep Aleti or the young man Mitansh. And I do not see a number on the back of the jersey, so it is indeed Nityanandam. So far on the season, just a few appearances. 8 runs off of 18 balls faced in 4 innings. I would imagine here, at least for what remains of this innings, it's going to be all about trying to get Sohail on strike, knowing he's somebody who could do a little damage.
Absolutely, Joe. Question remains if Mitansh Nityanandam will go for the big shots and Sammy Sohail will go for the big shot, try and accumulate as much as possible, or will Sammy Sohail trust his game, harbor the strike, because he's a senior batter over here, and try and get Chicago post the 100 mark first up and then reassess.
Sort of a wild thing to describe Sammy Sohail as a senior batsman here as well. A 20-year-old from Karachi has had quite the career already. He's named the Emerging Player of the Week back in Week 5 after the win over the Michigan Cricket Stars. Of course, somebody who generally plies his trade with a ball in hand.
Got another interesting story in 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, as Joe is being helped with some fielding by Z.
Much obliged.
I'll tell you what. So, you call Sammy Sohail from Karachi. Of course, he loves his country, Karachi, Pakistan. But you asking me, identifies himself as a Malawi cricketer. This just tells you that we are no short of diversity in this contest and in this tournament of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. A cricketer from Malawi, plying his trade in the US and doing wonders for Chicago Tigers, who's been asked to do it once again to try and bring his team out of the rut over here. 16 overs done and dusted with 85 for 8.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Everyone says he's so good looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Are we back?
Yeah.
It's the end of Pranay Suri's spell, 3 for 23, a productive day with ball in hand. Of course, not the end of the day for him with ball in hand, just the end of this match with ball in hand. First delivery stroked to Kulvinder Singh. Dot ball to start here for Srinivas Raghavan as he will bowl his 4th over of the day.
This one kept a little low. Gets it from the toe end of the bat and looks at the bat in dismay, but is done no damage. The fielding has been relentless in the last four overs. There was a bit of bat on this one. You could sense it with the way he turned for the appeal and turned it down himself.
I could actually hear the two sounds from here in the comms. 3 dots to start the over, though. Srini continuing his economical ways, just 14 off of his first 3 overs.
Ooh. He made his mind up that he's going to hoik it on the leg side. Threw it really, really wide. It just tells you that this bowler is able to read the batter and his little cues, and hence is getting the better of him more often than not. That easily could have been a boundary had that been in his slot or had that been in his zone, because you've got Shehan at long on who's as straight as possible now, because he's moved slightly wider with that single being taken.
Worked off the pads, Rahul Jadiwala, quick pickup looking for the direct hit, but will not get Mitanch.
A scary prospect indeed. Chicago Tigers, the last thing they would want right now is a run out. Words of encouragement from Nishant from the dugout for Chicago Tigers. They understand the first and foremost mission that they're on is to bat the 20 overs and try and get that good finish with some momentum. 110 would be not so distant a dream if they can get one good over under their belt.
Just a single run from it, 2 for 15 from his 4 overs. Srinivas Raghavan take a bow. 86 for 8.
1, 2, 3.
Three overs left. Saurabh Netravalkar back in from the Barrett Avenue end. Have to imagine he'll be taking 18th and 20th. Perhaps Kulvinder Singh after that. Boy, oh boy, have we seen some fantastic spin bowling, though, today. Certainly everybody's been in the wickets, in fact, except for Saurabh Netravalkar. He's the only one without one at the moment.
What did I tell you? Very selfless. Will create the pressure from one end and watch the others being fruitful.
Indeed. Kulvinder Singh with 1, Thadani and Srinivas Raghavan with 2 each. Suri leading all wicket takers right now with 3, and just combining his stats with those of Raghavan right now. 8 overs, 5 wickets, 38 runs. What a contribution from that part of the bowling attack.
The Silicon Valley Strikers have been absolutely clinical in the middle overs. Hence the scoreboard's reading a miserable story for Chicago Tigers at the moment.
And the death overs have not generally been where Chicago have been successful, and of course not much wiggle room to play with here with just 1 man left in the shed, Ranadeep Aledi.
Yeah, now they're always battling this conundrum, whether they go for the full throttle and try and get as many runs as possible, or they save their wickets to try and play the 20 overs in the first place. Because there's an imminent danger of being bundled out with 1 false shot. That one didn't make connection. big swing. The ball didn't bounce as much either.
It didn't carry to Jediwala. If that had picked up an edge, maybe. Sami Sahel checks his heart rate. Netravalkar among the best strike bowlers at the death in all of minor league cricket. His strike rate on the season, admittedly somewhat small sample size. He's only played 6 matches, but his strike rate is 5.4.
He makes special appearances in the movies, doesn't he? It's like that. Would be available all the time, but whenever he is, his efficacy would not be questioned. He's absolutely magnificent to watch as well. Very quiet a person, voice is as good as a whisper, doesn't talk much, but sings really well off late. We found that out on Instagram.
Is that right?
That's got only height and no distance. Saurabh Netravalkar has called for it himself and will complete a wonderful catch indeed. Perfect once again from the bowler himself. Never took his eyes off the ball, never stopped believing and shouted, "Mine, mine, no one come near me," so that he can complete a magnificent catch indeed. More trouble for Chicago Tigers. There's just one more left in the hut.
What a remarkable... just the difference between the two cotton bowls. I'm constantly entertained by how different things can look in person compared to a scorebook. Srinivas Raghavan earlier, just a nice little toss. Admittedly, a very nice diving grab as well, but that one was in the air for a solid 6 seconds, Suhas.
What made it more difficult is the fact that the ball is swerving in the air. Ask Andrew, who's up there, a camera person. There's a lot of wind indeed. The ball was swerving in the air. He constantly had to align himself underneath to try and make a catch out of it. But because he had called for it, he was certain that no one would barge into him and he can have his eyes on the ball at all times. Believe that he can take that catch and completed a wonderful catch indeed. Saurabh Netravalkar is also amongst wickets and will not feel left out.
No, not at all. And I was even going to say, too, part of the difficulty of that one, there's not a single cloud in the sky to try to judge it against either. No background. It's just pure blue. Gorgeous, lovely day for cricket here in Morgan Hill.
Azure skies, a lovely green grass. It's the colors of our game and the smell of the grass as well. Well, there's more than what you can indulge in just by viewing the game as well. If you're around the Bay Area, Morgan Hill is the place to be. And if you're not a connoisseur of cricket, you'll become one when you watch the 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. What a beautiful day that we are having for cricket.
Well, no surprise here, Mitanch on strike as the runners did cross, seeing as how they had about a minute and a half to do it. Actually kind of surprised they didn't cross twice, to be honest. Picks up a single.
Sometimes the scoreboard doesn't update itself. You tell us very quietly, Joe, with your quip that we're living in the past. I think there's few of them who are living in the future as well, because you said the October is not here yet. And October is when the rules will change. What a good delivery this one is. Just teasing the outside off, and he walks off as if all in a day's play. No drama. 89 for 9.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
$89 for 9. A couple of overs left. Kulvinder Singh will continue from the commentary box end, that is the San Pedro end.
Of course, he was the one that got us started with the wickets. He'll see if he can bring it to an end as well here.
Look who's looking for an early finish. I didn't know about those two teams out there. There's one in the com box who's looking for an early finish. Joe struck straight to the fielder in the deep. There is a sweeper in place to keep it down to a single. That's another better aspect of what Silicon Valley Strikers have done today. Not only having the right fielders in the right positions, but also understanding what the batter is going to do and always being a step ahead of him. The spinners did it with the last-minute changes in lines, and that cost the wicket of the batters. Now the Pacers have also started to do the same. Just as we say that, the commentators curse his straight one down the leg side. He's got to re-bowl, reload.
I wanted to comment too, that is just the second wide of the innings. Very, very few extras. We've gotten accustomed the last couple of weeks to seeing games where the extras column was the third or fourth leading scorer. Today, just 2 wides and a leg by.
Yeah, it reminds me that in Australia, the extras was called as an extra man, and it was written of a score. In the scorebook, it was written as if it is another cricketer who's walked out to bat.
Every team's got him. That guy gets a round.
Who travels for free?
7 more runs, boys. Another wicket. Let's go.
I tell you what, Joe, this one, Kulvinder Singh, yeah, we were talking about that. It's just going to come to that. Kulvinder Singh is going to change the field on the leg side. Reason being, he wants to pitch it slightly fuller. Let's see what Kulvinder is up to now. Yes, he does, because this is a double bluff that he plays so very often. He prepares the field as if he's going to bowl short, and the deep backward square sort of lurks around there, and then he bowls one fuller in a Yorker length otherwise.
Now, that's part of what had me fall in love with the sport, was realizing that cat and mouse game, the idea that you can communicate something to the batter with your field and then just bowl completely against it and fool him that way. It's brilliant. Full toss. That's going to be hit to Pranay Suri at the covers.
I tell you what, Kulvinder Singh is immune to the full toss, I believe. Back in Santa Clara, the full toss has got him the wickets.
That's right.
Yeah, the full toss has not been put away. It's gone straight to the fielder. Lot of ball watching. That could have been trouble. Lot of ball watching. Didn't hit it from the best part of the bat. Was confused whether he's got to go for the run or no. Saw the partner charge towards him. No other option but to get to the other end. Mind you, Kulvinder Singh, because he's a pacer, in his follow-through had gone slightly far. Had he been a spinner, this could have been a different story altogether. With a shotter follow-through, would have been in a better position to collect the ball and dislodge the bails. Could have been the end of the innings as well.
Well, Kulvinder now 1 for 19. 1 ball left in his spell.
Once again, just looking at the batter till the last moment, keeping it simple, keeping it slightly away. And with that quiet single will end Kulvinder's over as well. 93 for 9 with 6 more balls to go for Chicago Tigers. 5 more runs.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Mitansh Nityanandanam will be on strike here to face Saurabh Netravalkar. They have managed to get to the 20th over, looking to see if they can reach the psychological barrier of triple digits. Bit of hesitation, chance down at Jadiwala's end. The throw is in time, and they will pick up just the single off of that. It's going to be 94 all out with 5 balls left in the kitty.
I've run out to end it as well. Chicago Tigers not having the best outing with a bat in hand. They've made all sorts of mistakes. Missing straight deliveries, going for the cross-batted shot too often. Now miscommunication in the end to put an end to this innings altogether. 93 is below par, especially against strikers on their home ground. They need some sort of magic with the ball in hand to pick up early wickets, which would be crucial in this encounter to try and make a game out of this one. Otherwise, it's been strikers. Still now would be strikers throughout the way.
It's such a good start initially here for the Chicago Tigers. The 48 for 2 in the power play. 26 from Syed Saad Ali. 21 from Marcus Ackerman. Looked like they were building a platform for a decent innings. They never even managed to double the total they had at the end of the power play. 48 there, just 46 runs from that point forward for the loss of all 8 of the remaining wickets.
Yeah, wickets at regular intervals, always keeping the pressure on. Syed Saad Ali was the only batter to get to 26. Otherwise, Marcus Ackerman's 21 of 17 was a flash in the pan. Sharan Tejas 5, Manan Patel 6, Sunny Bhatti going without scoring. Calvin Savage at runner ball 10. It's a sorry story thereafter.
As for the bowlers, Saurabh Netravalkar took him until his 3rd over of work, but he finally gets into the wickets. 1 for 13 from his 19 balls delivered. Kulvinder Singh 1 for 20, got the party started, taking the early wicket of the opener Charan Saiteja. Dev Thadani 2 for 22 through the middle overs, and the spin twins Surrey and Srini Raghavan 3 for 13 for Pranay to lead all wicket takers, 2 for 15. Beautiful economy and some productivity in the wickets column for Srini Raghavan.
94 for Chicago Tigers, 95 the number for Silicon Valley Strikers to pick up a win over here. We'll come back with a reply of the Strikers in just a moment. Within that first run, very important.
That's an under edge, could have gone anywhere, but it'll trickle to Surrey at mid-wicket. 4 wickets taken in that match. Man of the match, that one is edged and gone! End of the day for Charan Saiteja, and the swing takes its first victim. He's actually watching the first matchup from the NICU. Kulvinder Singh is going to travel. That's looking like the first boundary of today's encounter. Syed Saadi, a lot of really good slow ball exponents for the Chicago Tigers as well. Ackerman flares that one off the top of the bat and gets it over the man in the covers.
Simmons starting with a wonderful half century indeed. That's in the air. Will it be taken? The first opportunity.
To the last 5 after that.
Absolutely. It was very close indeed. A lot of ground to cover. The ball skidding away to the fence. Again, the shorter delivery. And again, the Silicon Valley Strikers pay the price. Shehan Jayasuriya. Cheeky, and would it be taken? No! Butterfingers from a man who has bucket-like hands. Gary Graham putting it down. This is an NFT.
5 more balls in that.
Pranay Surrey introduced and almost picking up a wicket. Now will have to face the wrath of the batter who gets the better of him on this occasion. 6 all the way. And so far, you've talked about fortune favoring the brave. Now he's shuffling up. Wow, what a good shot this one is. In the gap, it goes for 4. It's very difficult to bowl to Marcus Ackerman once he gets set.
Same little shimmy and perfect ball in response to that. And that one's gotten the jetty well, and the finger is up. And that is all for Marcus Ackerman, who goes boom, boom, gone.
For Manan Patel.
And 2 innings ago, he had a 42 against Michigan Cricket Stars. Gets started strong here with a 4.
To find out if the ball's coming at him quicker. Just like this. That was quick as it gets. Over the rafter. He's done a decent job. Slapped it straight back. Shehan Jayasuriya will not be able to get there and didn't put in the dive as well as the ball wasn't dying in pace. Straightish long off and long off. Long on.
And they'll look to go wide of him. Long run for Shehan Jayasuriya. He does manage to get there to keep it from reaching the boundary.
He did a great job with a one-handed catch though. Oh, that was close. That is straight as well. This could be trouble. Up goes the finger. A brain fade moment. And of course, this was just chipped in the air. Would it be taken? Yes, it is. One of the better catches of 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship. Diving forward. As Joe mentioned, 4th on the trot for the youngster. He's doing the difficult job brightly.
Gary Graham nearly getting to that one. I couldn't quite tell from here with Kulvinder Singh in the way. 10 other runs off the remainder of his delivery. Then he's got another wicket as he's lit up the Singh bails. Prithvi Patel has a very short stay at the crease. And it's Srinivas Raghavan continuing to Calvin Savage, who extends the arms and shoots that one over the Sunoco board.
So that you don't obscure the stump as well.
That's definitely hit pad, and the finger is up. Calvin Savage dismissed and not happy about it by any stretch of the imagination.
This should be taken. This should be taken. Gone straight into the hands of Kulvinder Singh, who doesn't mess this one up on Instagram.
Is that right?
That's got only height and no distance. Saurabh Netravalkar has called for it himself and will complete a wonderful catch indeed.
Will be on strike here to face Saurabh Netravalkar. They have managed to get to the 20th over, looking to see if they can reach the psychological barrier of triple digits. Bit of hesitation, chance down at Jadiwala's end. The throw is in time, and they will pick up just the single off of that. It's going to be 94 all out with 5 balls left in the kitty.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco. You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Okay.
Little better? Are we on?
Yep.
Welcome back to the 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championships presented by Sunoco. Silicon Valley Strikers, do not adjust your television. They are indeed now chasing 96. An adjustment made. We caught over here at the comms, as a matter of fact, an error in the online scoring. That has been addressed, so 95 all out. The result for the Chicago Tigers. We're now looking at the second official delivery of this innings. Lendl Simmons off the mark. A wide as well, 2 for no loss so far. Again, of course, Joe Hickey, joined by Suhas Vedam. Suhas, just a crazy first innings. Great start for the Chicago Tigers, followed by a kind of slow motion version of the collapses that we've seen from them here and there over the course of this season.
Again, it's just a reiteration of the same story that you cannot allow an inch to Silicon Valley Strikers. You leave the whole door ajar, and the next thing you know is you've been robbed already. Silicon Valley Strikers perfect in their implementation of the plans in the middle overs. Calvin Savage would wait. That was driven beautifully through 4. That'll do a world of good to his confidence as well. Many things have to be going right if you're scoring a shot of that kind early on in the innings.
And Unmukt Chand, of course, class player all the way. We've seen him at his best in these chases of small totals. This seems to be when he likes to take the lead and really look to pick off perhaps 60 or 70 of a smaller total, usually a bit more circumspect when chasing something larger.
Absolutely. Against the Grizzlies, we saw his approach. You were there calling that game.
10-wicket victory as he partnered with Jadiwala, and he had about 2/3 of the runs. He's got potentially another boundary here. Long run, and the man in the deep will not get there. Back-to-back 4s to start the innings for Unmukt Chand.
Beautiful shot indeed. Just helped it along its way. Calvin Savage is spraying the balls everywhere. He's got to keep it in the corridor of uncertainty early on. The captain's been very, very effective with a new ball today. Not so much. 2 balls put away with ease for 4. 1 through elegance, 1 through a deft touch. Just out of reach of Sai Charan Teja. At fine leg inside the circle. Oh, beautifully done. This man is batting with a sense of ease at the moment, and this bat belongs to the geometry boxes. Is as good as a protractor. He's getting the gaps so accurately.
3 boundaries on the trot, and generally speaking, pace is Unmukt Chand's preference to face this season. His strike rate 118 against spin, but 151 against pace bowlers. And he's showing you exactly how he's put that number together.
The way he eases through the drives. This one slightly uppish and will go the distance as well. Wants to get this done in a canter. If the boundaries were elegant, this was butchered away.
4 boundaries on the over after a dot, a 1, and a wide. Silicon Valley Strikers jumping all over Calvin Savage in the first over. 20 for no loss.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, 1 over gone. 20 for no loss. What a start for Silicon Valley Strikers. Very positive. Bouncing on anything even marginally wide and easing it through the gap if it's there to be pitched up and driven. Beautiful cover drive. Beautiful opening the face of the bat. 1 through point for Unmukt Chand. And all that Lendl Simmons did was pick up a single and watch Unmukt Chand go bonkers at the striker. Then he's so good at applying pressure at the opponents by taking the captain on. It was captain versus captain in the first over. And Unmukt Chand definitely got the better of Calvin.
Suhas, you always say, give your work a lick and a promise and watch the genius bat. Usually it's not the non-striker that we're talking about, but in that particular first over.
I'll tell you what, you've been pulling back the tapes and watching a lot of commentary. Well done, you remember the exact words.
That was a unique one. I picked that one up, and I think I may have heard
I think
it.
it's the second time you told me
twice.
Yeah. Well done, you're doing a lot of homework.
Classes start on Monday. Ranadeep Aleti, and that is in the air in our direction. And that has cleared absolutely everything off the bat of Lendl Simmons. That ball is in the sheds by the soccer field behind us.
It flew. It just grew wings. Unbelievable hit. And again, it didn't look like he muscled it over. Just a deft touch. It's the power of the man. The ball just flies. It pings off his bat.
No, I was sitting here waiting for it to potentially impact our tent, and then I saw the eyes of everybody over here who was worried about the truck suddenly just guided the other direction. That was absolutely belted.
It's going to take a while to retrieve that one as well.
Well, perhaps we'll take a moment and take you around minor league cricket then and tell you what else has been going on. The Atlanta Fire with a Duckworth-Lewis victory as Manhattan Yorkers were at 136 for 7 when the rains came. And the revised target, the par score at that point would have been 156. So the Atlanta Fire ahead in that series. We will see if they get a chance to play another game today. There's been a lot of rains in the southeast.
That's why the importance of the first game has to be reiterated. The importance of the first game, you don't know because you're also playing the weather along with the opponents. The first game, if you get to play, try and win that one. Silicon Valley Strikers, they're looking good there first.
And certainly no concerns about inclement weather here. At least coming from the atmosphere. Speaking of the rains coming, Dallas Mustangs and Seattle Thunderbolts game 1 abandoned. And at least the forecast right now makes it look unlikely that they'll get game 2 in either today. So that may end up being a one-off playoff tomorrow at 11 o'clock Central Time. Otherwise, New Jersey Stallions put up 152 for 5 in the first innings. Raptors at 68 for 6. They've got some work to do with 7 overs left as they play at Church Street Park. Back underway here, Ranadeep Aleti giving up a single that travels perhaps, we'll say 1/20th the distance of the shot before it from Lendl Simmons, but is worth 1/6 the runs.
Absolutely, and the last shot was so surprising as it came off the bat as well, so nicely. Didn't look like he muscled it, just went through with a shot, extension of arms, and the ball never seemed to fall anywhere in the vicinity.
Just all over here bracing for impact and could hardly believe where we heard that impact come from. And Mukchand off the pads.
Easily done. We'll get 2 more runs. On the pads is such easy pickings for a batter like Unmukhchand, especially when he scored about 3 boundaries in the first over that he faced.
4
to be very precise.
Yeah, off to a flyer right now, 20 off 5, trying to challenge that Muhammad Irfan strike rate that we talked about earlier.
A bit of a commotion just alongside the side screen. Unmukhchand wants that to be cleared. Lendl Simmons suggesting as well. You could just clear that. I tell you what, this is something Calvin Savage would not mind because that is creating the much needed distraction and break in momentum for Silicon Valley Strikers. Silicon Valley Strikers would want to face the next ball as quickly as possible as Lendl Simmons and Unmukhchand are on song.
Apparently the issue here is the advertising board's a little bit too close to the line of sight for Unmukhchand.
Yes, and it was the red one as well. The red stands out nicely.
With the bright white Toyota logo.
And a bright white cricket ball, which wouldn't remain as bright if the hitting continues. Big swing and a miss, much needed for the bowler. The first question which did not have an answer to.
Ranadeep Aleti, somebody who is very proficient with the slow ball, uses it about 2 out of every 3 deliveries, at least over the last 5 weeks or so, when I've had a chance to watch this Tigers team. Has used it to great effect so far this season.
And Ranadip Baleti has been a handful, especially when he's bowling with a new ball as well. And what has been most irritating for the batters facing him is the deceptive pace.
Well, that's the thing. If you keep putting the slow ball up there, suddenly your pace delivery actually looks like it's coming out like Lockie Ferguson, even if it's more, I don't know, Colin de Grandhomme range in terms of the speed.
Another New Zealand reference from a great Kiwi fan that we've got here in the com box. End of the over, 2 gone, 29 for no loss, Silicon Valley Strikers.
1, 2, 3.
Calvin will continue and would hope for a better start this time around. Straight to the fielder.
As quickly as Silicon Valley have come out of the blocks on this one, has anybody told them net run rate doesn't matter anymore?
They would have killed for a game of this kind in the league stage.
Well, they kept racking up the victories, so they didn't really have to worry
Yes.
about it quite so much. But yeah, this has very much the look of last weekend at Santa Clara with the East Bay Blazers, up at Klahani Park, up in Seattle.
Yeah.
Teams trying to get things done in 6 or 7 overs.
It's not like if this game finishes early, we're going to have an early start for the next one.
A nice, long, easy lunch.
Unmukt Chand is so quick between the wickets that even though it felt like Lendl Simmons was slightly absorbed in ball watching, Unmukt Chand wanted that single and Lendl did not disappoint.
You can imagine why Chand would want the strike back. So far, a spicy beginning to
Unmukt
this
Chand,
innings for Unmukt Chand.
the more technically prowess. Oh, that's a beautiful Yorker. He'd wanted to be a statement sent to the opposition. And it is indeed a statement sent. Unmukt Chand on that occasion had to dig it out.
Well, Calvin Savage, when I've had a chance to see him bowl, is just relentlessly on a good line and length. The discipline is incredible. It's got very much their Netravalkar. That same sort of discipline, the same sort of dot ball percentage, somebody who really does put on the pressure and occasionally benefits with the wickets, but very frequently that's what's gotten Aleti the opportunity to pick up wickets in the power play.
Catcher is the call. Will it be taken? It was a little late to start off as well. Did not pick the ball as it was in the air. These are the little moments which will make a big difference towards the end. Unmukt Chand survives. What easily could have been a catch has been put down as the opportunity was realized just a tad bit late. He was a little startled. The fielder in the deep, Rana Aleti. Nasami Sohail, I beg your pardon, was a little startled to begin with. Gloriously driven, did get a hand to it. That would have reduced some pace of the ball. Needs a bit of Sunoko to get to the fence. Will not. Will get 2.
Chand, of course, all too happy to retain strike. 1 ball left here in the Savage over.
Still taking Calvin Savage on. Chand has realized that Lendl Simmons is also going great guns at the other end with 1 6 that he hit straight down the ground. So Chand has got that additional license to go and play his natural game. Poor delivery. Unmukt lets it go. Wide ball signal. He's got to re-ball this one.
Wide's a little bit of an issue for Calvin Savage. 11.6% of the runs he's given up this season have come by way of those or no balls. Bit of an issue for several of the bowlers here for the Chicago Tigers. Aleti and Sohail both also about 7% of their runs come by way of that.
Calvin Savage has got a lovely Yorker, of course. Oh, this one would be in the gap. And the fielders in the deep, fielders on the offside, everyone will play statue.
Unmukt Chand, yet another boundary to add to his total. He had those 4 in the first over. Finally gets himself another one. He has absolutely been taking Calvin Savage apart methodically. That's going to be 9 off of that frame, 39 for no loss.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah! Everyone says he's so good looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Okay, so again, we don't even need these right now.
First delivery to Lendl Simmons here of the fourth over. Hit to a very, very fine long on. Prithvish Patel able to chase it down before it reaches the boundary. Just a single to start the over.
Chicago Tigers need some momentum over here. Wicket would be the best form of getting that momentum. Perhaps a moment of brilliance on the field would also help. They need some momentum. Fine legs inside the circle and very well placed as well. Go straight to him. No damage done. Now for the youngsters watching the game, you could see that Lendl Simmons helped Unmukt Chand in deciding whether there is a run or no. That's what happens when the batter usually hits it behind himself, not straight down the ground or in front of the wicket, anywhere.
Reminds me a little bit of the role base coaches play in baseball. Balls rattling around in the outfield. You got your back turned. Somebody's got to tell you what to do. This incredibly uncharacteristic for the Chicago Tigers this season. And for that matter, for Silicon Valley Strikers, they've been one of the slower starters, aside from these tiny totals every now and again. And Chand and Simmons will stroll a single. Simmons picking up the pace a little bit as the throw comes down to the wicketkeeper's end. But so far on the season, just 7.5 runs per over in the power play for Silicon Valley Strikers. This is, definitely putting pedal to the metal and burning the Sunoco quickly. On the other hand, Chicago Tigers have a better economy in the power play than anybody in the Western Division, 7.2 runs per over. And Savage, almost 4.
It's got to come good today, even more so. The numbers are with him. Oh, the bat has gone a long way, but you want to see the ball do the same thing. The square leg umpire was running for cover.
You know who's really going to enjoy that is Shehan Jayasuriya.
Oh, yes.
He's had it happen to him a handful
I think there's
of
been a
times
practice session with Shehan Jayasuriya just before Lendl Simmons decided to get a bat on here. The little javelin throw contest that they're having with the bat in hand, however.
I don't know, that looked more like discus technique, to be honest.
I'm very sure that Z is also listening. The minor league social media handles, we might have this contest as well. Better delivery. Just love that little adjustment that the batter had to make as well towards the end to play the initial line.
And it's a tight comeback over here. Ranadip Aleti gives up just 2 off of it. Single to Simmons, single to Chand. 41 for no loss.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Change your bowling.
Yeah. But you just reduce that a bit. Thanks. Beyond? Pinaka has got to get it right. He has no time to get settled or try and bowl a warm-up delivery because Unmukt Chand would be targeting him, trying to come after him from the word go. Silicon Valley Strikers cruising to 41 for no loss. Gets it right on the money. That's much better. Making Unmukt Chand lean into the drive. But again, there is a bit of movement in the air, so you can't play the initial line. You got to wait for the ball to do its thing as well. Unmuk Chand meeting it right under his eyes. For all the youngsters watching, this is the right way to do it.
Now, having the quality of player of an Unmuk Chand here in minor league cricket has been a real treat. Something that I don't know those who might not have come out to see the sort of game we have here would have expected to encounter here in the United States. The level of cricket quickly rising here stateside.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at these strikers lineup and you can't take your eyes off, especially if you're a world cricket fan. Unmuk Chand opening with Lendl Simmons. Looks like a delicious contest indeed if you're a connoisseur of batting. Oh, that's a very good delivery from Deepchand Pinaka. Didn't miss that off stump by much. And that late movement is also helping him. Can Deepchand provide the much needed breakthrough? Chicago Tigers believe that he can. Can he deliver the magic ball? Much better from Deepchand Pinaka. He's got 2 good deliveries on the trot.
Yeah, so far this year, just 3 overs inside the power play, and he has been hit hard in them. 1 wicket for 38 runs, but here 3 dot balls to get started. So looking to come right again. Small sample size.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Whatever small that sample size is, Katani Clark developed a liking for him back in Houston, just sending all deliveries which came out of Deepchand Pinaka's hand to 6s and 4s straight down the ground.
Katane Clark has been known to mess up a bowler's economy here and there.
Catch it is the call, but who is the question? There's a wide gap on the offside, and Unmuk Chand is targeted the middle of the gap.
Beautifully worked. Unmuk Chand back amongst the boundaries.
The way Unmuk Chand scores those boundaries, especially through the offside, is such a treat to watch. There's lazy elegance about the way he drives and leans into those shots, and no half measures whatsoever. And there is a sense of relief as well for the camp as he plays statue with the fielders on the offside. Nobody moves an inch. And they look at each other only to decide who's going to retrieve the ball. Fielding is not an option.
This one pushed to long on, where there is protection. Single for Chand. 46 runs so far on the board. Silicon Valley Strikers not even 5 overs into this and nearly halfway to the target to get. You get a sense at this point that this game is going to be, and then this innings for Chicago is more about how long can we string it out, how much confidence can we get from the bowling unit going into a game 2, which is going to be must win now.
Adding to your point, also understand the surface a little better because you're going to be playing on the same track. But it's important that they do not get too ahead of themselves and they try and play this game first. That is a perfect delivery. And it is so heartwarming for Bhatti, the keeper, to be collecting it sideways at that height. End of the over with a good delivery. That'll put some doubts in the mind of the batter. 5 overs gone. 46 for no loss.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
But change of bowling at the San Pedro end. It's going to be Sammy Sohail into the attack, and I would recommend everybody get themselves well settled to enjoy some good work here from Sohail. He is even money to take a wicket in his first over. 6 times in 13 matches he's picked up a wicket within his first 6 balls of work.
This tells you that he doesn't believe in warm-up deliveries, wants to be right on the money all the time. It always helps to have a bowler of this kind, and that's what Calvin Savage has decided as well. It's the right time to make him roll his arm over.
And of course, the Chicago Tigers here in need of a break in this partnership. Dot here to start. But, Lendl Simmons and Unmuk Chand picking up right where they left off from Santa Clara when they partnered for 111.
Absolutely. It's the second time that they've got on to a great start. And the first time they made easy work of the opponents. That was Hollywood Master Blasters. Now, Chicago Tigers, the level of the game is completely different, mind you. The seriousness and the gravity of the game is completely different. Big swing and a miss. It's the second time Unmuk Chand has started to venture out and missed it completely. The bowler will make a note of where exactly the pitch, which is slightly away from Unmukt Chand's reach and making him dance down the track as well. That is when you create that opportunity of having him get into wrong positions to get that played on or get an outside edge.
You may think, too, the dance down the track from Chand, one of Sohail's big weapons is the pace-off Yorker. Yeah. And that might have been an opportunity, or at least in his mind, about how do I turn that into a full toss that I can deposit over long on.
Sami Sohail, he's been a great supporting bowler. Don't go by his build. That's what everyone tells you. Don't go by his build, but he's a very good supporting bowler with a good change in pace.
And one of his specialties this season has been knocking over the tail. In particular, his strike rate 10.4 at the death. 12 of his 22 overs have come inside that high leverage portion of the match. Second wide in a row here to Unmukt Chand.
Just making it easier for Silicon Valley strikers. Chicago Tigers, they've got to find a way of stringing together good deliveries, wicket-taking deliveries, not just the dot deliveries, because what we've realized with these two out there in the middle, the dot deliveries have very less efficacy as they can easily clear any boundary in the world and can just probably target one bowler, and it's not a daunting target. This should be taken. This should be out. Yes, it is. The plan has worked. Unmukt Chand has picked out the lone fielder in the deep. Sami Sohail lives up to his reputation, provides a much-needed breakthrough, sends Unmukt Chand packing after a good start.
34 off 21 for Chand, a 162 strike rate there. Very solid work, a brilliant start, and he and Simmons have knocked off exactly half the target to get 48 runs on the board, 48 more needed, and a heck of a lot of time to do it. Silicon Valley Strikers will look to build a second partnership as Shehan Jayasuriya heads out to the crease.
No, it's not working. This is Patel. Manan. Unmukt Chand back in the hut. A good catch from Manan Patel. Out walks Shehan Jayasuriya.
You almost start to wonder here, we talked about the dot balls potentially trying to bring pressure. Obviously, a little bit less of an effect for Simmons and Chand, but in that case, even two wides perhaps bringing a bit of pressure, just impatience in that moment as Chand looked to go big again. First delivery to Jayasuriya is a good one. Dot to start.
Two batters out there in the middle for Silicon Valley Strikers who can send the ball a long way and the bat too.
With Jayasuriya out there, someone who, in terms of his season form, nothing at all to have any problems with. A 59 average and a 153 strike rate, but he has had a couple of underwhelming efforts the last two times out. Dismissed in single figures for the first two times all year.
And yes, and what that is taught us as analysts and commentators is the fact that even though he's not been at his best, the team's still winning. That means somebody else picks up the slack. That is what you want as a team effort for Silicon Valley Strikers. You can't say that they've been relying on Shehan for a long time, because when he was performing, boy, were they winning with a sense of ease. But when he wasn't as well, there were people to cover up. That is the level that the team has gotten to, picking up each other and playing as a unit.
Indeed, it was Chand and the Kirk Gibson performance from Gary Graham a couple of weeks ago here, as that one's tapped to the offside. No run there. Tight over. Sami Sohail. 2 wides, 1 run off the bat, and the big wicket of the captain. 50 up for Silicon Valley Strikers. Nope, not quite yet. My mistake. Jump the gun. 49 for 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
End of the power play, 49 for 1. Worth noting, it was a while ago, but at the moment, Silicon Valley Strikers only barely ahead of Chicago Tigers' pace at this point in the innings. As a reminder, they were at 48 for 2. The worm right now almost overlapping. The issue is how the rest of it went for the Tigers. As we told you beforehand, didn't even manage to double that total by the end.
Absolutely. The problem for Chicago Tigers was the fact that the worm started looking like a caterpillar with those dots. And that evolution didn't come good. Might be biologically, but didn't come good on the cricket pitch. Wickets at regular intervals that sort of stalled their runs that they could have got. But at the moment, they've got to work with whatever they have. They picked up a wicket here, Chicago Tigers. They've got to believe that they can pick up another and then another. One brings two in this game of cricket. Deepchand Pinaka. Oh, he's delivered a beauty indeed. That went whistling past the outside edge. Shehan Jayasuriya is a well-built man, and for him to have his hands so high and still the ball not kiss the shoulder of the bat, well, that was something. And there's late movement as well added to it, so Bhatti would have enjoyed thudding that into his gloves.
Well, we've been talking a lot about the bounce and the ones that have stayed down, the skiddy deliveries that were so effective for the likes of Dev Thadani. Here we see a little bit of ping pong bounce coming up into the kitchen of Shehan Jayasuriya.
Calls it off, and Shehan Jayasuriya practices one of his favorite strokes. The bowler is well within his rights to do so for all of those watching. If he feels that there was a misstep or he feels that he's lacking rhythm while running in, he's allowed to do this, and the batter as well, since he didn't offer a shot and the ball didn't come out of his hand in the first place.
It's like it never happened.
Now the umpire will signal dead ball, and then, of course, it's like it never happened. That's very well fielded. You've got to accommodate the fact that the bat face will eventually turn, so there will be a bit of torque as well. Excellent work by the fielder at backward point. It's not the first time he stopped something so well. Prithvish Patel, you put him at long on and long off, he's equally effective, and point, which is one of the difficult places to field, especially to Shehan. He's done a great job.
So the fielding and the bowling on point for the last few overs here, as you might recall. It was 39 for no loss at one point. Now, just 10 runs over the last 3.5 overs, make it 11 as Shehan Jayasuriya will scamper that single. That brings up the 50 for the Silicon Valley Strikers.
Very good judge of a run there, Shehan Jayasuriya. Moves on to 2 with that single. Again, someone who starts off slow but tees off. Today doesn't need to tee off because a lot of those runs have already been knocked off by the openers. Lendl Simmons. He's seen his partner depart, the captain depart. But he assumed the responsibility here to finish it off. 46 required in balls aplenty, 80 of them. Required rate's not a daunting task at all. Deepchand Pinaka would be looking to get that second wicket. A very good delivery once again. The change in pace as well. This was more out of frustration, not out of necessity. Lendl Simmons being as calm as possible as he gets out of the firing line. Heat of the moment, it can make you do wonders. Especially a fast bowler, you're anyways approaching closer to the batter in your follow through and the ball comes to you at that pace. Is that Deepchand Pinaka's slower delivery that's coming up, or is he going to be as quick as he was in the entire over? Aims for the quicker one, very well adjusted, just guides it to the fence. For a man who personifies power, he's also showing the deft touch to be another factor in his game.
And breaks a streak of about 14 balls there without a boundary, which was a record so far for the game for the Silicon Valley Strikers. The 4 to finish that overall, 54 for 1. But 54 for 1, 7 overs gone. The target 42 runs away to go up 1-0 in this Pacific Conference semifinal best-of-3 series. Silicon Valley Strikers getting to play at home in the postseason for the first time as they look to punch a ticket to Morrisville, but work still to be done. Sami Sahel stays on from the San Pedro end, facing the lefty Jayasuriya. As of late, the Tigers doing a pretty decent job of starving Silicon Valley of runs. They knocked off 39 in the first 3 overs. Since then, just a further 15 in 4. Admittedly, the run rate required at this point is even lower than that, 3.23. So a little confidence here to be gained from taking on these batters for the first time. And as you were saying, Suhas, getting to know what the pitch is capable of and where you're going to want to bowl.
It's a very difficult shot that is executed, to be very honest, because he's running the risk of being LBW. If he misses it completely, then bowled. But it's the wrists and the strength of this man, Shehan Jayasuriya, that he was able to whisk it away.
It was one of the things that wowed me as a fan when I first began to follow the sport, was the ability to meet a ball that is traveling by you and smack it behind you. Just this idea that you're going to kind of help it on its way is so foreign to a fan of really any other ball sport in this country.
To be very honest, that is put away beautifully for 4. Lendl Simmons will stand to his full height and ensure that 4 more runs are knocked off the target that they need to get. We'll come back to your question in just a bit, Joe, but this is another good exponent of batting. Stand tall, believe that you can get that powerful shot out of the way, plonk your front foot slightly away to allow the bat to come through, get it in the gap for 4. So many things had to be done right, and Lendl Simmons is getting it right. Sami Sohail calls it off this time. Look how still the batter is. Lendl Simmons just surveying the field. Not that he's making any fielder work. He's hitting them in the gap.
Well, and this is where having such veteran campaigners like a Chand or a Jayasuriya or a Simmons available is so important. That one's going to shoot the gap, and another 4 to the offside. Lendl Simmons putting it everywhere.
One of the best white ball cricketers in the entire world of cricket. And this is why. Equally effective through the offside as well. Slightly pitched up, not much. It wasn't a very bad delivery. Still gets it in the gap. As Sami Sohail, your margin of error is so little. Also because he's got the height as well. Lendl Simmons, if he wants, he can just go through with full power and muscle it straight down the ground too. The options that you have as a bowler are limited. And that is when your variations, change in pace and accuracy come into play. He's given him width, and width is something asking for comeuppance. Will travel the distance too, slaps it away for 6 through the offside. Lendl Simmons is having a party.
Three boundaries there on the trot. The total that quickly still left to get comes down to 27.
He's got a very still head too as he powers through the shot. And that assists him in being in shape while he hits those shots and the ball travels. That is the best delivery out of the 4 that he's bowled so far, and hence it's only a single. Not only with the lack of pace, he's confused Simmons on that occasion, but he's also sent a statement.
An expensive second over of work, though, for Sami Sahel. 16 from it, 70 for 1 through 8.
1, 2, 3.
Lendl Simmons retains the strike as we head into the 9th over. Productive one for him in the 8th as he was responsible for 15 of those 16 runs. Shahan Jayasuriya at the non-striker's end, and it's going to be spin from the Barrett Avenue end, as is practically a refrain. We should probably just get like a little copy-paste sort of thing for that. Sharan Saiteja on for his first action of the match.
And he's got to legally deliver the first delivery again. So it's the idea is to keep it wide and out of reach of Lendl Simmons, but not that wide.
After that last over, you could be forgiven for wanting to stay away. My goodness, another one to challenge the distance of the first one we had directly over our heads, Suhas.
Powerful. The bottom hand comes into play. This is the reason we call him one of the best in world cricket when it comes to white ball cricket. Understands the white ball game so very well. Paces the innings, and for him to be batting without any pressure is just him unlocking the next level of Lendl Simmons. That is in the gap too. Work to do for the sweeper. Shahan Jayasuriya is interested in running the first one hard. Lendl Simmons with his lazy elegance suggests why run for that second run with so much might when you can clear the boundary with ease.
You mentioned Suhas, not a whole lot of pressure at this point. Maybe a nice chance for Shahan to knock some of the rust off. Feel that on ball in a way that he hasn't the last couple of weeks.
Yes, absolutely no scoreboard pressure here. Good delivery. That's a very good delivery. And he's also playing with the release points, and that's a great thing to watch. Again, the young viewers at an impressionable age watching and learning this game, that's one thing that you could do as a spinner. Change your release point a little bit so that the batter plays down the wrong line, and that is when you make him a candidate for LBW. Moved outside off. Wanted to offer a deft touch, but on that occasion, Sai Charan Teja bowling it slightly slower than what the batter anticipated. Wanted to use the pace on the ball to guide it away. Lendl Simmons, I won't be surprised if he just tonks this one straight down the ground. That was the idea. Oh, that was in the gap. Work to do for the sweeper in place. He'll only fetch the ball as the ball is not stopping. Enough Sunoko to reach the fence once again.
5 boundaries in the last 8 balls faced by Lendl Simmons. He has kicked the acceleration on and pulled this target almost within single figures.
It's absolutely a treat to watch. Now he's standing outside off because he knows what is coming, and he's gently guided that in the gap as well. Will that be stopped? Football work will ensure that it's stopped, but will pick up the second run with equal nonchalance. This is very, very prudent batting as this over seems to have come to an end.
Another big one for Simmons, 13 for him, 15 for the team, 85 for 1. The target just 11 runs away.
My son, he's so soft-spoken. Oh, yeah. Everyone says he's so good-looking, and he never forgets to call.
Hi, Mom. Born for your true self. The 2022 Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
I'm not sure if we have a post-match, but just in case you give me this, I'm not sure but if we have a post-match. Oh, no, thanks. This one, I meant this. Yeah. Young Mitansh will steam into ball at Shehan. Ball didn't bounce as much, but Shehan Jayasuriya watches it right under his eyes as he meets the ball. It's a great time to be batting and getting that much-needed moxie that Shehan Jayasuriya needs.
And meanwhile, the youngster, 16-year-old Mitansh, into the match here. This is the earliest he's participated in a minor league cricket match in terms of which over we're in, just the 10th. Up till now, 15th was as early as it had been. Bowled 4 of his 5 overs inside the death overs, used sometimes as a little bit of a pacey surprise toward the end of a match.
The way he kept his nerve in the tight games to bring Chicago Tigers to this level. Oh well, he's overstepped. That front foot of Mitansh has misbehaved, and that means he's got to bear the brunt with a free hit coming towards Lendl Simmons, who's anyways treating every other ball like a free hit. The only reprieve here for Calvin Savage is the fact that he can change the field. But many ways of getting the batter out are not counted. The perfect Yorker, that has to be the idea here. The perfect Yorker. He's bowled it wide, he's thrown his bat at it. The ball will reach the fence. He's made easy work of this target. Silicon Valley Strikers. Runs required in single digits.
Could in fact be done in one shot, and if it is, it would also bring up a maiden half century for Lendl Simmons, sitting on 46 right now. Might recall he was closing in on one last time out and was retired for 48.
Yeah, went back for 48. So still waiting for that first half century of his in Silicon Valley Strikers colours. Oh, what a good shot. Nobody moved. And it's also hit the boundary cushion on the full. 50 up for Lendl Simmons. And a well-compiled half-century.
And a victory for the Silicon Valley Strikers. Gets the 50 and the win on the same stroke. 97 runs knocked off for just the loss of 1 wicket in less than 10 overs. What a comprehensive batting performance here from the top order of the Silicon Valley Strikers. We'll take a look down the card. It's not a very long one. Lendl with the 52 off just 25 balls. A strike rate today of 208. He has found minor league cricket very much to his liking. Unmukt Chand, the only man retired. He had the quick start, 20 runs off the first over. Ended up going 34 off 22 with 6 balls making it to the boundary, 1 on the fly. Simmons, for his part, 9 boundary shots, 4 of them on the fly, 1 of them directly over our head.
Once again, the opener setting the base for chasing a small total. And once Unmukt went back, Lendl Simmons went bonkers, getting to his half-century with a winning shot as well, which traveled the distance.
Not a whole lot to speak of on the bowling side. Calvin Savage beaten up by Unmukt Chand. Captain on captain crime. He goes for an economy of 15 in his 2 overs of work. The 1 wicket taken by Sammy Sohail, right on command in his first over of work, makes it now 7 of 14 matches. He's done that. They're going to be looking for more of that from him in the second match of today's series, and we hope that you will join us for that as well. But a 9-wicket victory here in Game 1. Silicon Valley 1 win away from a return to Morrisville. For Suhas Vedam, my partner here on the comms, for Bud Jadabans at the controls and Andrew Grindle on the camera work, this is Joe Hickey, hoping to see you at 2:30 for Game 2. So long.
Strikers perfect in their implementation of the plans in the middle overs. Calvin Savage would wait. That was driven beautifully through for calling that game.
A 10-wicket victory as he partnered with Jadiwala, and he had about 2/3 of the runs. He's got potentially another boundary here. Long run, and the man in the deep will not get there.
Teja at fine leg inside the circle. Oh, beautifully done. This man is batting with a sense of ease of the moment, and
exactly how he's put that number together.
The way he eases through the drives. This one slightly uppish and will go the distance as well. Wants to get this done in a canter.
Classes start on Monday. Ranadeep Aleti, and that is in the air in our direction. And that has cleared absolutely everything off the bat of Lendl Simmons. The opportunity to pick up wickets in the power play.
Catch it is the call. Will it be taken? It was a little late to start off as well. Did not pick the ball as it was in the air. These are the little moments which will make a big difference towards the end. Unmukt Chand survives. What easily could have been a catch has been put down as the opportunity was realized just a tad bit late. Calvin Savage has got a lovely Yorker, of course. This one would be in the gap. And the fielders in the deep, fielders on the offside, everyone will play statue. Looking good today, even more so. The numbers are with him. The bat has gone a long way, but you want to see the ball do the same thing.
Katane Clark has been known to mess up a bowler's economy here and there.
Catch it is the call, but who is the question? There's a wide gap on the offside. One bowler, and it's not a daunting target. This should be taken. This should be out. Yes, it is. The plan has worked. Unmukt Chand has picked out the lone fielder in the deep. It was in the entire over. Aims for the quicker one. Very well adjusted. Just guides it to the fence. For a man who personifies power, he's also showing the depth.
Any other ball sport in this country.
To be very honest, that is put away beautifully for four. Lendl Simmons will stand to his full height.
Veteran campaigners like a Chand or a Jayasuriya or a Simmons available is so important. That one's going to shoot the gap, and another 4 to the offside.
He's given him width, and width is something asking for comeuppance. Will travel the distance too, slaps it away for 6 through the offside.
After that last over, you could be forgiven for wanting to stay away. My goodness, another one to challenge the distance of the first one we had directly over our heads.
I won't be surprised if he just donks this one straight down the ground. That was the idea. That was in the gap. Work to do for the sweeper in place. He'll only fetch the ball as the ball is not stopping. Enough Sunoko to reach the fence once again. A treat to watch. Now he's standing outside off because he knows what is coming. And he's gently guided that in the gap as well. Will that be stopped? Football work will ensure that it's stopped. But we'll pick up the second one. Idea here. The perfect Yorker.
Do anything with this?
He's bowled it wide. He's thrown his bat at it. The ball will reach the fence. Still waiting for that first half century of his in Silicon Valley Strikers colours. What a good shot. Nobody moved.
Competing against one
another, and it's also hit the boundary cushion on the full.
It's going to be the best of 3 games.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
We call